The world of music was recently shaken to its core after an astonishing revelation about Andre Rieu's hidden fortune came to light. Known across the globe for his breathtaking performances, emotional violin solos, and timeless waltz compositions, no one could have predicted the shocking truth that followed his latest announcement. Behind the glamour, elegance, and the sweeping beauty of his performances, there existed a secret legacy, a fortune so vast and deeply personal that it brought his family to tears. But these tears weren't only of joy. There was something far more complex, a hidden story that few could have imagined. What exactly did Rieu leave behind, and why is it stirring such deep emotions among his loved ones? The answer, as it unfolds, promises to leave the world absolutely speechless. Born in 1949 in the picturesque city of Maastricht, Netherlands, Andre Rieu's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Today, he stands as one of the most celebrated and influential figures in the realm of classical music, earning the well-deserved title of the Waltz King. His remarkable talent as a composer, violinist, and conductor has left an indelible imprint on audiences across the world. Rieu's passion for transforming classical music from something formal and traditional into an experience that transcends time and culture has made him a global icon. For decades, he has managed to bridge the gap between the old and the new, enchanting both devoted classical fans and younger listeners who might never have stepped into a concert hall otherwise. Rieu's love affair with music began in his childhood home, surrounded by melodies that would shape his destiny. His father, who served as the conductor of the Maastricht Symphony Orchestra, became his earliest influence and mentor. Growing up immersed in orchestral sounds, young Andre developed a profound fascination with the violin. It wasn't merely an instrument to him, it was a voice through which he could express emotion and bring people together. Determined to master his craft, Rieu went on to study at the Royal Conservatory of Brussels, one of Europe's most esteemed music academies. Under the guidance of the renowned violinist and Professor Andre Girdler, Rieu honed his technical mastery and emotional precision. His hard work and devotion culminated in him earning the prestigious Premier Prix from the Conservatory, an achievement that marked the formal beginning of his professional musical journey. However, Andre Rieu was never content with simply following tradition. While many of his peers performed classical music in its most rigid and formal form, Rieu dreamed of something far more engaging and joyful. He envisioned classical concerts that felt like celebrations, where the music could make people smile, laugh, and even dance. This vision gave birth to the legendary Johann Strauss Orchestra in 1987. What began as a bold experiment soon evolved into a cultural phenomenon that forever changed how the world viewed classical music. The Johann Strauss Orchestra was unlike any other. Instead of solemn expressions and strict performances, Rieu's orchestra radiated joy and connection. With Rieu leading both with his violin and his charisma, the ensemble performed vibrant interpretations of beloved waltzes and timeless classics. The atmosphere of his concerts was filled with laughter, applause, and emotion. Audiences weren't just spectators. They became part of the music itself. One of Rieu's most iconic performances, his interpretation of Dmitri Shostakovich's Second Waltz from the Suite for Variety Orchestra, captured hearts around the world. That rendition not only earned him the title of the Waltz King, but also solidified his reputation as a visionary capable of breathing new life into classical compositions. As his orchestra's reputation grew, so did its reach. Rieu's concerts became global events, drawing sold-out crowds from Europe to the United States, Asia, and beyond. Each performance felt like a grand festival, an uplifting celebration of music, culture, and shared humanity. Through his tireless work, Rieu proved that classical music could be both refined and fun, dignified yet accessible. His approach blurred the lines between the concert hall and the dance floor, between formality and pure joy. The success of the Johann Strauss Orchestra wasn't just a personal triumph for Rieu, it was a victory for classical music itself. He demonstrated that this centuries-old art form could still move hearts, inspire unity, and evolve with time. His ability to make classical music feel modern, emotional, and alive has attracted an incredibly diverse following. For many, attending an Andre Rieu concert is not just a musical experience, but an emotional journey. His performances remind audiences that music, when delivered with soul and sincerity, truly is a universal language. Yet one might wonder, what secret allowed him to make classical music both elite and inclusive? The answer lies deep within his story. Rieu's rise to international superstardom wasn't an overnight success. It was a carefully built legacy of dedication, creativity, and unshakable belief in his dream. His journey went far beyond thrilling audiences. It evolved into a global empire that redefined the classical music industry. With his natural charm, magnetic stage presence, and unmatched connection with audiences, Rieu turned himself from a gifted violinist into a commercial phenomenon. The seeds of this musical empire were planted back in 1978, when Rieu founded his first small ensemble, the Maastricht Salon Orchestra. Based in his hometown, it served as his creative laboratory where he began experimenting with blending classical precision with warmth, humor, and audience engagement. This early step allowed him to perfect his approach before launching something much bigger. That breakthrough came in 1987 when he officially formed the Johann Strauss Orchestra. Starting with only 12 members, Rieu trained them intensely for 6 months before their debut concert on January 1, 1988. From the very start, their performances broke every classical convention, filled with laughter, liveliness, and audience interaction. Over time, the orchestra's size and influence grew dramatically. By 2008, it had expanded to 43 musicians, and between 2008 and 2020, the number reached nearly 60 members. What began as a small dream had become a worldwide musical movement. Yet, the moment that truly catapulted Rieu into stardom came quite unexpectedly in 1995 during an international football match in Amsterdam. During halftime, Rieu purchased just 60 seconds of live TV airtime to perform Shostakovich's second waltz. As fate would have it, Ajax scored a goal moments before halftime, ensuring that the entire stadium and millions watching from home were focused on Rieu's short but unforgettable performance. The following week, he sold an astonishing 200,000 CDs. That one electrifying minute changed everything. It transformed Andre Rieu from a talented violinist with a vision into a global household name. From that moment on, the Waltz King became more than a musician. He became a legend whose music united generations and crossed every imaginable boundary. Andre Rieu's fame didn't happen overnight. It skyrocketed thanks to his frequent television appearances and wildly successful European tours. By the mid-1990s, he had become a household name, and by 1996, the media had crowned him the modern king of waltz. This title wasn't just flattering, it became an essential part of his brand, shaping the course of his career for decades. Rieu's rise wasn't confined to grand concert halls alone. He skillfully harnessed the power of commercial branding, entertainment, and mass appeal to reach audiences far beyond the traditional boundaries of classical music. His Johann Strauss Orchestra earned a spot among Billboard's top 25 tours for nearly 20 consecutive years, sharing that honor with music giants like Bruce Springsteen and Justin Bieber. By 2018, Rieu's accomplishments had reached historic heights. He became Billboard's highest-grossing classical artist in box office history, amassing an astonishing $550 million in total earnings. Unlike many classical musicians who depend on government grants or institutional support, Rieu built a thriving business entirely on his own terms. "I need $1 million a month just to pay everybody, and without touring, it's even more," he once revealed. "I have 110 people on my payroll and another 100 working freelance. So, it's a huge family." Managing such an empire required innovation and multiple income streams. Rieu's business expanded into recording studios, production companies, an events enterprise, and custom workshops that handled everything from stage design to costumes. His meticulous attention to detail extended to the people who worked for him. Rieu created an environment that felt more like a family than a company. His orchestra members enjoyed exceptional benefits. A professional chef prepared their meals, Fitness instructors kept them in peak shape, and custom-made Mercedes-Benz buses transported them comfortably from city to city. For musicians with families, Rieu even established a private kindergarten, ensuring their children could travel and learn alongside them. However, Rieu's unconventional style didn't sit well with everyone. Some classical purists criticized his performances as overly sentimental or too commercialized. Yet Rieu never shied away from criticism. He stood firm in his belief that his shows were designed to create a joyful, immersive experience, blending music, dance, and visual spectacle into one harmonious event. "I'm trying to create a Gesamtkunstwerk, a total work of art," he explained, referencing Richard Wagner's concept of uniting all art forms into a single experience. While traditional orchestras battled declining audiences, Rieu continued to fill stadiums and concert halls across continents. His performances were not mere concerts. They were celebrations, where audiences clapped, sang, and even danced, something almost unheard of in the classical world. By refusing to conform to rigid traditions, Andre Rieu carved his own path, turning joy, emotion, and showmanship into his formula for success. His empire became proof that classical music could still flourish in a fast-paced, modern world. Rieu's journey to transform classical music into something accessible and joyous for everyone mirrors the story of his remarkable financial empire. Beyond his waltzes and world tours, one purchase in particular stands out as the perfect symbol of his dreams and success: a majestic 16th-century castle in Maastricht, the beating heart of his musical empire. This castle, known as Huis de Tor, House of the Small Turrets, is not merely a lavish residence, it is a symbol of his rise to global fame. Located in the historic heart of Maastricht, the property came into Rieu's life almost by chance. While vacationing in southern France in 1999, Rieu's accountant called to tell him that the front side of the castle was for sale. At first, he and his wife, Marjorie, weren't even looking for a new property. But as Marjorie later recalled, "We weren't really looking for it, but then again, the chance doesn't come along very often." What made the purchase even more extraordinary was Rieu's personal connection to the place. As a young boy, he had once taken piano lessons in that very building, a dark, cold, and rather gloomy space at the time. Though he didn't love the castle back then, his fascination with such grand structures began early, fueled by his passion for Tintin comics. In one story, Tintin and Professor Calculus buy a castle, and young Andre remembered thinking, "I wanted to live there." That childhood fantasy became a reality on September 11, 1999, when Rieu bought the castle for 1.45 million euros, around 1.9 million. The property was divided into several sections, but over time, Andre and Marjorie worked tirelessly to reunite it into one majestic structure. The oldest part of the castle, the kitchen, dates back to 1452, with the main building completed in 1526. Adding to its legend, it's said that the French musketeer D'Artagnan had his final breakfast there before dying in the 1673 siege of Maastricht. Rieu personally oversaw the restoration. Rather than hiring outside designers, he transformed the once dreary interior into a bright, elegant space with gold leaf accents and European furnishings he discovered during his travels. He even built a French-style orangery filled with tropical birds and butterflies, saying fondly, "Other people buy a Ferrari, but I wanted a greenhouse filled with butterflies, and that's what I have." Over the years, the castle's value has continued to grow. In addition to this stunning property, Rieu owns 34 buildings in Maastricht, including several near the castle. Maintaining such a massive estate, however, is no easy task. The soft stone requires constant renovation. "No sooner have I repaired one half than I need to start again on the other," he joked. Major repairs were completed in 2015 after years of erosion. Interestingly, Rieu doesn't actually live in the castle. He prefers a nearby 150-year-old house, but the castle remains the crown jewel of his assets, a public symbol of his musical success and personal dreams realized. "I use the castle to promote my concerts," he admitted with a smile. With its romantic turrets, historic charm, and world-famous owner, the castle continues to fascinate fans and media alike. It stands as a powerful emblem of Rieu's lifelong devotion to music, beauty, and imagination. While Rieu's castle represents his external success, the true treasures of his career rest much closer, beneath his chin. His rare and priceless violins are not just instruments. They are emotional companions and invaluable works of art that helped shape his sound and his fortune. Among his most famous is a 1667 Stradivarius violin, one of the earliest masterpieces crafted by Antonio Stradivari. Rieu once said, "I used to play on the 1667 Stradivarius, an instrument the man made during his engagement to his future wife. The same love he felt for her, he somehow put in that instrument." That emotional depth is what binds Rieu to his violins. They are not just tools, but living extensions of his soul. Acquiring such instruments is no simple feat. You really need to break into the violin world. It's a small world. Only 3 or 4 people decide over the whole world, Rieu explained. Once collectors discovered he was searching for a Stradivarius, offers came pouring in, like flies to honey, he recalled. Eventually, Rieu added an even rarer 1732 Stradivarius to his collection, alternating between the two over the years. These violins are worth millions. The famed Lady Blunt Stradivarius once sold for a jaw-dropping 15 million euros, highlighting the immense value of these historic instruments. For Rieu, however, their worth isn't just financial, it's spiritual. When I do a little bit of math, he mused, I noticed that the trees for the Stradivarius wood were planted during Columbus's discovery of the New World. To him, playing such an instrument means holding a piece of living history. Rieu often compares the violin to a woman. A violin is like a woman, unique. There are many women, but only one you love. It's the same with a violin. His bond with these instruments is intimate and lifelong. Yet owning such treasures comes with responsibility. Transporting millions of dollars worth of violins around the world demands exceptional security and special insurance. Rieu once joked, "My violin is insured, but my hands aren't." His Stradivarius even travels first class with a bodyguard to maintain safety and ideal conditions. In 2021, during the financial crisis caused by the pandemic, Rieu made a heartfelt statement that stunned many. "I would sell my Stradivarius to support my orchestra." That declaration reflected his loyalty not only to his music, but also to the people behind it. Thankfully, the world reopened before he had to make that sacrifice. Still, the sentiment revealed Rieu's unwavering love for his craft, his musicians, and the instruments that helped make him the king of the waltz.